Hey everyone, it's Chris from Crafty Creations by CV. I'm just doing a recording instead of the live stream that I'm supposed to do on Wednesday at 1 o'clock. I have a family emergency and I won't be able to go live at that time. So I still want to be able to teach you guys how to make this awesome flower. So I figured I would do a pre-recording, and if you have any questions, feel free to message me or put it in the comments, and I will double check everything tomorrow evening. So I'm just going to switch to the overhead camera. We'll go through the supply list that we need, and then we will get started. All right, so I'm just going to switch the camera over. All right, so here's the flower we're going to be making today, but we're going to be doing it in a turquoise and white burlap with a white horizontal wide stripe deco mesh. Okay, so the supplies that we're going to need for this, I'm going to put this aside for right now. You are going to need a glass tempered plate here to cut your poly burlap on with the wood burner. Okay, and then here is our wood burner that we're going to be using. Okay, and then we are going to need, this is the turquoise and white poly burlap. Okay, and then this is going to be the white deco mesh, and that is a horizontal wide stripe. We're also going to be using some of these large leaves that I basically took off some sunflowers that I had, and I just kind of picked the leaves off so that I can use them for this. And then basically you're going to just need a metal ruler. Okay. And you're going to need some of your clips. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to cut the poly burlap and the horizontal wide stripe. And then we are going to fuse the edges. And this is called the Double Dean Michael Petal. However, this is kind of like my modified version of it because I got distracted when I was watching Lori from Unique in the Creek do the fold, because she didn't use the wood burner. So she taught a method of folding it so that it would hide any of the frayed edges. And I wasn't paying attention. So I kind of screwed up, and this is what I kind of came up with, and it just seemed to work for me. So I'm just sticking with it. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to take your poly burlap and you're going to be cutting 8 pieces, 20 inches. Okay. So these are just pre-cut, but you'll have your roll, bring it out to 20 inches, and you're going to wood burn it. Okay. So that's why you need the glass, so that you can wood burn on that. All right. So we're going to need 8 10 by 20 of the poly burlap. And then we're going to need 8 10 by 20 of your white deco mesh. Then you're going to cut 4 additional pieces of your white. And this is going to be in a 10 by 10 square. Okay. These are going to be for the middle Star Trek petals that we're going to fold when we get to that point. And you're going to do 4 10 by 10 squares of your turquoise and white poly burlap again. Okay. So all together, you're going to have 16 10 by 20 pieces of mesh. 8 is poly burlap, 8 is the horizontal wide stripe. And then you're going to have 8 10 by 10 pieces of mesh, 4 poly burlap, and 4 horizontal wide stripe. And then for the leaves, you're going to need 16 leaves altogether. Okay. So now what we're going to do is, once you have your mesh cut in the 10 by 20, okay, we're going to take our mesh, and you're going to keep it on your glass board because we're going to need to fuse this. So what I generally do is I take a little clip and I put it on my larger mat. I'm going to put it on the 10 mark. Okay. And that just helps kind of give me a guideline. So I'm going to line up my mesh to the left at 0, to the right at 20. And then I'm using that clip as my halfway point. And I'm going to fold the right side to that middle point. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is add a clip. And I'm just going to kind of straighten it out. And you're going to make sure that your edges here are lining up one on top of the other. Okay. And I'm going to put a clip right down here as well. And then I'm just going to kind of walk my fingers and just kind of flatten it, and just kind of being careful not to pull too much on it, because the poly burlap tends to be a little finicky. Okay. So then what you're going to do is just turn it. Now we're going to take this side and we're going to bring that in to where our clip is and just kind of clip it. And we're going to kind of straighten it out, and we're going to clip down the bottom. And again, we're just going to kind of walk our fingers and flatten that out. Okay, and I see a little string kind of hanging out here, so I'm just going to clip that before we do this. Okay. So now what we're going to do, and I'm trying to move this so we're not in the glare of the light there. We're going to turn this to the side. Okay. We're going to take our ruler, and what I'm going to do, let me see if I can bring this down a little bit closer for you guys. I'm going to move it this way. You're going to take your ruler and you're going to put it on the seamed edge. You want to make sure that your top and bottom are lined up, because basically what we're doing is we're fusing the sides together. Okay, so you're going to kind of place your ruler on your seam just a little bit, just so you have a little bit of overlap, and you're going to take your clip off. Okay, so you maybe is like a 1/2 inch that you're going to have there. Okay, so we're going to take our wood burner, and you're going to start at the top up against your ruler, and you're just going to slowly bring it down. We don't want to go too fast, because we're not really just cutting the mesh. We want it to fuse. Okay, so then you'll have a little piece like that that's going to come off, and I just kind of flip it to the side. And then I kind of just do that one more time, just nice and slow, kind of go down this way like that. Okay, then I'm going to put my wood burner on the stand there. And when I wood burn, I generally use my mask. I'm not having it on right now because I think it might be hard to talk, but this is a Cambridge one, and it really helps to filter things. We're going to turn to the other side. And again, you're going to put your ruler right on the edge, about a 1/2 inch in. And you want to make sure that your seams are overlapping each other so that the top and the bottom will fuse. Okay. And then you're going to take your wood burner again. You're going to go up to the top where the ruler is, and you're just going to slowly bring your tool down so that it's cutting and fusing the mesh at the same time. Okay. And you're going to do this 16 times. There's that. I did most of them, so we'll only have a couple to do. Okay, and then I just take my clips off. So this is what you're going to have. You're going to have like a seam here, and then you're going to have it fused on both of these sides. Okay, so we'll do that again. So that'll give us our two that we're going to do for this. Get that out of the way. Okay, again, so what I do is I just line it up at my 0 and my 20. My little thing moved here because I moved the board. Sorry. So I just got to put that on my 10 there for my mat. So 0 and 20. And I'm just kind of going to take that right side and flip it into that halfway point. And I'm going to put a clip. Okay. I'm going to put a clip on this bottom in the middle. And then I'm just going to kind of flatten, kind of walk it up like that. And I usually will just kind of put a couple clips here just to kind of keep it in place. We're going to turn it. And we're going to fold this side into the middle. And then we're going to clip. And again, we're going to kind of walk our fingers down the edge here just to kind of flatten it and give us a little seam. And then we're going to make sure our top and our bottoms are lined up. We're going to take our ruler and we're going to put it about a 1/2 inch in. We're going to take our clip off. Okay, and that just kind of gives you a little 1/2 inch here. We're going to take our wood burner again. And we're just going to go slowly right up against the metal. This is why you want a metal ruler and not a wooden one, because you'll end up burning the ruler. We're going to come down and you'll see the little pieces. And then you're just going to come down it one more time, just kind of slowly, just to try to help fuse any little edges that might not have. And sometimes you don't get a perfect fuse, and that's okay. It'll be all right. And we're going to turn it to this side. And again, we're going to put our ruler here, about a 1/2 inch. So you have a little bit of about a 1/2 inch overlap there, because you want to have enough of the poly burlap so that it fuses. And we're going to bring it down again. There we go. So you'll have like a strip like that. Like I said, it's about a 1/2 inch. And I'm just kind of going to come down one more time, just in case there's little areas that I might have missed. Okay. And again, so you're going to have this square, and it's going to be fused on that side and that side. Okay. So you're going to have 8 of these all together. Okay. 8 of those. And now we're going to do the same thing with our horizontal wide stripe. Okay. 0 and 20. We have our clip at our center mark 10 here. So we're going to fold that in. And then we're going to clip our bottom. And this one you can be a little bit more rough it with. You can kind of run your thumb down it, and it's generally okay. And I'm just going to kind of add my couple clips here just to hold it. I'm going to flip it, and we're going to do the same thing. I do find that the wide stripe, when you're fusing it, doesn't fuse as good as the poly burlap, but you still can get it to fuse in most of the areas. I just find that it doesn't fuse as good. So if you want to use poly burlap for both the white and the other, go for it. So again, we're going to kind of make sure our seams are overlapping. And just like that. Again, we have our about a 1/2 inch seam at the end here, and we're just going to do this nice and slow. And like I said, with the horizontal, I tend to go a little bit slower, just hoping that more time on it will help to fuse it a little bit better. And again, I just kind of push that away. You just want to be really careful when you're using the wood burning tool. I can't tell you how many times I have caught my fingers. And then we're going to go to this side. And again, we're going to take that clip off. And the nice thing I liked about kind of doing it this way too, which was not meant to happen, but it actually gives you nice clean edges when you go to make your petal. Just gonna move those out of the way. I'm just going to kind of do one more slow, just like that. Okay, so that's done. So as you can see, it fused it, and it's fused on that side as well. So we'll do that one more time, and then we'll be all set with the wood burning part of this, and then we'll go ahead to the petal folds and the board setup and all that good stuff. So 0 and 20. We're going to fold the right side into the middle at the 10 inch mark there. And we're going to clip the top and the bottom. And kind of put another clip here, another clip here. And again, this is just my version of the Double Dean Michael Petal. This is probably, it's not the original way of doing it. So I'm not sure where that video is. I had watched Lori from Unique in the Creek. And like I said, I screwed up watching her video because I wasn't paying all the way attention. And then this is just what transpired from that. And it just seemed to work for me. So I just call this the Double Dean Petal. for myself to remember it, but this is not the exact way to do it, just so that you guys know. And we're just kind of going down the edge there. And I'm going to turn it. And again, you're just going to make sure your seams are right on top of each other. And you have about a 1/2 inch. And then we're going to bring this down. Just like that. And then one more time here. All right. And there we have it. So we are fused on both sides now. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of the tempered glass and turn my wood burner off. Do that. All right. So now what we're going to do, make that too bright there. All right. So what we're going to do is prep our board first. Okay. Do that. So I just kind of added some color zip ties just to kind of help. Thought it might be a little bit easier to see it. So what we're going to do, here's our top here. This is where our holders are going to go. Let's see if I can get this off. And there we go. Let's see a bigger screen for myself now. All right. So this is our top. This is where our hanger is going to go in this hole here. So nothing's going to go in these two little ones. So these first yellow zip ties that you see are in every other set of holes on row 1. Like it's like a little way too close. Okay. All right. So that's every other. On row 2, where you see the purple, you're going to be doing every set of regular holes. Okay. So where you see the 2 holes close together, you're going to be doing every set of those. Okay. On row 3, where you see the blue ones, again, you're going to be doing zip ties in every set of those regular holes. And then on row 4, where you see the yellow, you're going to basically doing every regular hole as well as the shared holes. Okay, so this is what your setup for your board's going to look like. And I'm going to flip it to the back so that you can kind of get a better view of it. Okay, so this is what the back of your board should look like when you have it all set up. Okay. And again, some people like to use pipe cleaners. You can use pipe cleaners, whatever your preference is. When I do my actual designs, though, I do use the clear zip ties, but I just wanted to show you guys on camera. I thought maybe these colors might show up a little bit better so that you can get a better view of seeing them. Okay, so that's our setup. And this is on the small board from Unique in the Creek. Okay, so I'm going to put this aside. All right. So let's do our petal folds, and then we will start assembling the board. Okay. So the first petal that we're going to do is the Double Dean Michael Petal. All right. Now with this, it's basically like your Dean Michael petal, but you're actually going to have a double one. Okay. So I'm just going to kind of grab some elastics here. And again, my clips. These are my best friends. Okay. So what I do to know which way to fold it, this is where our seam was, where that kind of opening was when we did the halfway point. I generally make sure that that's going from the lower to the upper corner for me. Okay. Because sometimes now you can't really tell. You have your seamed edges down here and above here, and then you have your folded edges here. So I just kind of go by that middle seam. It just kind of helps me direction wise. So so you're going to put it in a diamond shape. Okay, you're going to take this top corner and you're going to bring it down to this bottom corner. Okay, And then what I usually do is I put a clip here, and then I kind of flatten, I line up the edges here. Okay, this is the important part here. You want those to line up, and I put a clip there, and then I turn it and I line up this other side here. I'm okay that this isn't matching up down here because when we do our actual petal fold, you're not going to see that part. Okay, so that's the important part, is that you have your tip and your sides are lined up perfectly. Okay, so you're going to turn it to the left. And what I do is I kind of put my center point. I just find one of my lines and I just put it on there. And then I know that I can go to that same line, and that's my center point. Okay. So then what I do is I just kind of give it a little stretch and I pinch that middle like that. Okay. And then you're going to switch hands. And again, now that it's on here, use your mat as your measurements. Okay. So what I do is I go up 2 lines, which is 2 inches. And that's going to be my first like pleat. So I'm going to kind of take it and I'm going to walk it in. Okay. And then squeeze again. Again, I'm going to go up to that 2-inch mark, squeeze and bring it in. And we're going to do that one more time. We're going to squeeze and bring it in. Okay. So now I'm on here. I'm going to go down to this line. So I'm going to kind of take my thumb and swoop it into the center. Put my thumb there, swoop it into the center, and then one more time, swoop it into the center. And you're going to have these little pieces here. You can see them here and here. You're just going to kind of fold those underneath, and then I place them on the mat to hold them in place for me while I'm getting my elastic ready. Okay. And then you're going to put your elastic around that, around the little nub there. And then I just kind of push it down for a second, give it a little squeeze. Okay. This is what your petal is going to look like. And then you turn it this way. And I take those off and you just kind of give it a little bit of a curve. Okay. And you take that off. So this is 2 petals in one. So when Lori had done it, I think these were all together, but you could see all of the layers. So like I said, I did it the wrong way. This is just what came out. And I figured, well, it's still a double Dean. Let's just go with it. All right. So we'll do that again. All right. We have this here. Here's our seam. So I want that to go from the bottom to the top. I'm going to take my corner up here. And I'm going to bring that down to this point. And I'm going to put a clip. Okay. And I'm going to line up these sides. So that I'm going to put a clip. And I'm going to line up this side over here. And I'm going to put a clip. And like I said, these are a little bit off, but that's okay. I'm not worried about those. And I'm going to put my point on my number 8 here. So then I can go on this side, and that's pretty much my center. And I'm going to do 1, 2, and 3. Okay. And then again, I make sure I start on a line, and I'm going 2 lines down is going to be my first. So you're taking your thumb and you're kind of sweeping it to the middle. You're going to do it again and then again. Okay. So you're going to have 2 little wings on the end, and I just kind of fold those under and just use your mat to hold those in place while you're getting your elastic ready. And then you just put your elastic around it. Okay. And again, you take your clips off and just kind of give it a little. And like I said, you have 2 petals in one. And I'm going to do that with our poly burlap. And I have all my other ones done, so I'm just doing the two of each that we wood burned. So again, seam, middle seam here, bottom to top. I'm going to take corner down to the other corner. Put my clip here. And whoop, lost that clip. Another clip in the middle. Good thing, get tons of those from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to turn to the side again. I'm going to put my point on my line for number 8. And then I'm going to go this way for my middle. I'm going to go up 2 inches and I'm going to bring it in, and bring it in. And we're going to do the same down here. 1, 2, 3. And you'll have your little wings and you tuck those both underneath and then just kind of push it on the mat. And then you're going to put your elastic around the nub. Okay. And take it off. And that's what your petal is going to look like. And again, you can see that. Okay, so I'm going to put that aside. We're going to do one more like that. Okay, and again, this is my opening, left to the right upper there. I'm going to take our point to point. I'm going to put our clip. I'm going to line up our edges here. I'm going to put our clip. I'm going to line up these edges and we're going to put our clip. Just like that. Okay, so that's what it's going to look like. And then you're going to turn it. I put my point on a line. I get my center point. I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And you have your little edges, your little wings, you tuck them under. And then we're going to band our nub there. And there you have it. Okay, so that is the Double Dean Michael Petal, the Chris version. Like I said, I know it's not the correct way to do it. So we're just going to call it Double Dean Chris version. Okay, so now we're going to be making Star Trek petals. Okay, so that's what those are going to look like. So we're going to take, we'll do one of each here. So here's our poly burlap. I usually just start with my factory seamed edge on my left and then my lower right. Okay, so you're going to take your upper point, you're going to bring it to the bottom. Okay, just like that. You can clip it if you want to. You can clip all your edges. You don't have to, but if it's easier for you, you can do that. You're going to take your right side and you're going to flip it to the left corner here. Okay. And then what I usually do is I do clip this center part here and just kind of push it down. So you're going to line up your edges and then I just put a clip there just so that it holds it. So that's the starting point of it. Okay. Then what I do is I turn it to my left again. I put my point. 8 seems to be the lucky number today. So I put my point on 8. So that kind of tells me that my middle is going to be around 8 on this side. So I pinch the middle. So you're going to pinch like that. Okay. Then what I do is I take this corner. I hold it with my middle finger. I take these two and I just line those pieces together. So that left or the upper and the lower. Then what I do is I just push it down right where my finger was pinched. Okay. And I just bring up that side or upper and I bring in that side. Okay. So now everything's pinched together and I just kind of give that a little pull, that little tail. And then I give this top part a little pull. Okay. What I do is then I just take and I snip this little tail off. It's like that. It makes a total mess, but that's okay. And then we're going to put our elastic around this little nub on the end here. Okay. And that's what that petal is going to look like. So that's what it looks like that. That's what it looks like on the other side. Okay. The only thing we're going to make sure is when we make all of these, you want to make sure that your open seam is on the same side. So you don't want one on this side and one on that side. So you want to make sure when you're folding your petals that however you set up your mesh like this to fold it, that's how you want it. Okay. So you don't want to do one like this and then one like that. So I always start with my factory edge in the upper left and in the lower right. So if you always do them that way, then you'll always have the seam on the same side. So we're going to bring top to bottom. Like that. And again, you can clip if you want. You don't have to. Okay, we're going to take this right. We're going to bring it to this left corner. And then I'm going to take and clip in the middle here. And I just kind of double check, just kind of make sure that those are like that. And you can take these ones off. And then I just kind of give it a little flatten. Just flatten it there a little bit. I'm going to put my point on my line. I'm going to get my center point. I'm going to pick up this and just kind of bring my middle finger just to hold it up. I'm going to take these two and I'm going to attach it to that one. And then I'm just going to basically push it down onto my mat. And then I'm going to take and flip the edge up. I'm going to flip this edge up to the middle and just give that a little tug while I'm holding it and a little tug up here. And it kind of just straightens everything out for you. I'm going to cut off the tail. And then we're going to put an elastic. And those are our two petal folds for this design. Okay, so you have the Star Trek petal and you have the Double Dean Michael petal. Okay, so we're going to put those aside. Okay, and now we're going to start putting placements on the board here. So we're going to actually be starting with our leaves first. Okay, bring that. So what I'm going to do is take all my leaves. I'm trying not to get my head in the way here. All right, so what I'm going to do is grab two of my leaves and I just kind of stick them together like that. Okay, and we're going to start on our outer row one here. Okay, and anywhere, because you already have your zip ties in, so you can start it anywhere. And you're just going to kind of stick those in and you're going to pull. I'm going to use my little plier things here. Okay. So you're going to put your leaves in just like that. And I'm just going to find my clipper. Hold on a second. I'm not sure where my zip tie cutter is, but these will work. We're just going to clip the zip tie off. And then what I do is I generally put a little bit of hot glue just over that, okay? And you could put it over it, or you could put it, sometimes I'll do it on the stems themselves before I place it on there. So either or. So again, you just take two petals and just kind of stick the little stems together. And like I said, if you want to put it on beforehand, you just add a little bit to each of the stems. You're going to stick it underneath your zip tie like that. And then you're going to pull your zip tie tight. Okay. And we're going to clip the zip tie. So we're going to do this all the way around. We're going to have 8 slots filled with 2 petals each. Okay. I'm just going to add some hot glue. And you don't have to add the hot glue. I just do because I feel like it's going to kind of hold it a little bit more sturdier. Because those stems are just so tiny. I never know if they're just going to pull out easily. Okay. And like I said, these are just leaves that I pulled off flowers that I have not used in a long time. So I was like, oh, instead of doing mesh leaves, let me just use the faux leaves. So if you have extra leaves and stuff hanging around, you can use them. Okay. This. And again, I apologize for not being able to go live, but I will answer any questions. Just send me a message or just comment, and I will look at everything tomorrow night. Okay. Almost there. I think I lost some leaves. Okay. Almost done. And then one more set of leaves. And then what I usually do is I'll put my hanger, my zip tie hanger in there now. And then I just kind of leave it there just so I don't have to kind of, ow, that hurt. You know, finagle it around the petals and stuff like that. Okay. First, my hot glue just got on my zip tie, which made it harder to do there. Okay. So for my hanger, just double check here. So here's my hangers up here. So I'm going to go up the hole here and then down the hole. Okay. And then what I do is I just kind of leave this like that until I'm done with everything else so that it'll lie flat for me still. Okay. So here's our number one right up here. All right. So now those are done. So now we're going to start adding our petals. Okay. So we're going to start with, you could start with whichever color you want, but I'm going to start with my poly burlap. Okay, and that's going to go in row 2 in that first one there, just like that. Okay, we'll pull it tight. And I just tend to do the zip ties as I go along. You can wait until you have them all done. Whatever easier for you. And I'm going to take the horizontal wide stripe. So I'm going to kind of do every other one. And pull that tight. And again, burlap. You can see the double petal there. Do the white, and this is on row 2, and we're just doing every other. And you could use any colors you want. I did this in a coral color. I did it in a lavender color. So you can have tons of fun with the colors that you do. Counteract some of that shadows there. So it's mostly the prep that probably takes the longest, because this part, it goes pretty quick once you have everything prepped and ready to go. The good thing is there's not that many petals that you have to do for this, so it's not too time consuming. And like I said, if you don't have a wood burner or you don't want to wood burn, check out Lori from Unique in the Creek on her YouTube channel. She did the Double Dean Michael Petal in a specific fold that she did where she did not have to wood burn it. So you can check that out too. All right. Okay, I'm going to bring this up just a little bit. Okay. So that's what we have so far. Okay, so now we're back. You can I always just kind of reline up my numbers so I know where I'm starting from. Okay, so now we're going to be starting this one right here. It's kind of off to the right. And I'm going to just start with my blue again. And I just turn it because it's easier to pull the zip ties than trying to pull them straight. Okay, so it's going to go like that. And I don't pull the zip ties too tight because I find that it just kind of pulls it. And if you see any like little phrase that come up, you just can clip them, or you can wait till the very end and just use your wood burner and touch them up if you wanted to. Sometimes you get those little buggers that start to fray on you. And again, we're just kind of doing every other. I'm just going to kind of put them right down into the zip tie there. And these are going to kind of start to overlap a little bit, and that's okay. So whichever ones you overlap, just continue that pattern. So this one is over this one slightly. So I want this one over top of this one slightly. Okay. And then just follow that pattern as you go around. You'll see how this will kind of just go, it overlaps the one next to it. Okay. And then I'll show you once we get all these in, what we're going to do with the petals, because it makes them kind of lie pretty cool. There's a couple more to do here. All right, sorry for the awkward silence. Okay, and we're going to put our last one in. Now, when you get to here, like I said, we have this, the one that we're putting in is overlapping. So this piece is actually going to tuck underneath this one. Okay, so that they're all overlapping in the same direction. Okay. You can kind of see that. So this one's overlapping that, and so forth. So we keep that pattern going all the way around. Okay. So now what we're going to do is I just have to remember how I did this. So we are going to take this top petal and we're going to tuck it under the petal next to that. So you'll basically have the poly burlap on top. And then you'll have a deco mesh petal, a poly burlap petal, and then the deco mesh petal. Okay. Or you could do it the opposite. You could have the white on top, the blue, but then you want to make sure you bring the white in between. Okay. So you could do it either way. Okay. So we're going to have white, blue, white, and blue, just like that. Let me see if I can turn this up for you so you can see. So this is what it originally looks like. Okay. It's just kind of like that. And now we're kind of overlapping the petals. Okay. So it kind of gives it a fuller appearance. And again, so we're going to do that here. We're going to have our white. We're going to have our blue, our white, and our blue. And you can kind of play around and kind of adjust your mesh a little bit and your petals. Okay. And again, you could see we're going to have our white on the bottom, just kind of push it down, our blue, our white, and then our blue on top like that. And like I said, you could do either or, however you want it. So I'm going to start with my white, then I'm going to put my blue, and then my white, and then my blue on top, just like that. Okay, and that's what's nice about this, because you can kind of give them a little pull and it just kind of makes your, so this is what it looks like this way. If you could see that. And then this is how it is before you do that. You just have a gap there. Okay. So you'll have it like that. All right. So let me continue this. So we've got white on the bottom. And I do my blue, my white and my blue. And then, like I said, I just kind of adjust the petals. So we have white, blue, white, blue, and you're just basically alternating and tucking the petals underneath the other one. We got white and our blue and our white and our blue. And then you can kind of fluff out your petals. And we're going to do, I think we're almost to the last one here. So we got our white, our blue, our white, and our blue. Just like that. Perfect. So like I said, so now when you look at the sides, you have layers of petals. Okay. And that kind of looks like that from the front. So now that we have that done, okay, we're going to do our Star Trek petals. And those are going to go in every hole in this middle part. And then we're going to be putting in the very middle, this is what kind of completes it. It's a wooden and wire wall decor that I found at Hobby Lobby. Okay. And I just added some pipe cleaners to the back. And the great thing about these boards is you have your 2 center holes there that we're just going to attach this to the center once we get all of our Star Trek petals in. Okay. So again, I'm probably going to just start where my white is here. I'm going to put a blue one. Okay. So we're going to put that in just like that. Okay. And again, I'm just going to kind of pull it so it's nice and snug. And this petal kind of stands upward. So kind of cool. And then we're just going to do every other again. So we're going to go into each zip tie. We're going to put in our petal. And then you just want to kind of make sure that the height of them are similar. Okay. So that you don't have them looking all wonky, like one really tall, one short. So you just kind of put your hand there or eyeball it and just make sure they're kind of at the same height. And we're just going to go all the way around the middle here. And you'll have 8 altogether. So you'll have 4 of the poly burlap, and then you'll have 4 of the horizontal wide stripe. And I tend to use these when I get towards the middle because my fingers get tired. Okay, I'm going to turn it. And again, we're just kind of sticking that down in there, just kind of lining the tip up there, make sure the height's about the same. Sure, keep my head out of the way for you. Okay. And we're going to do our blue. Okay. And just a couple more, guys. And what I'll do too is I'll make sure I put the affiliate link for Unique in the Creek. So if you want to go on and get the boards or any of the mesh or any of the supplies, if you use that link, you'll get a percentage or some money off. I don't know the exact discount, but off of your purchase. And it also helps me. More, it gets a little tight as we start getting into the last few petals here. We got one more. This is usually the hardest. Okay, there we go. And then sometimes, depending on if you're able to see the holes or not there, we'll see how I do trying to get that in, but a little bit of a fray there. Okay, so this is what your center is going to look like. Okay, And I think I can see my 2 holes in there. So that's basically your flower. And then we are going to add our sign. So all I did was I just put some pipe cleaners around the back here, and then just put a little bit of hot glue on it just to kind of hold it in place. But the zip ties are, the pipe cleaners are pretty secure, so I'm not that worried about it. And these kind of metal, they kind of bend. So if you do them gently, you can kind of put them in any position that you want them to be in. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to feed the pipe cleaners down into the holes here. This is always the fun part. There's one. They always kind of twist on you too. Almost there. See it. There we go. All right. So we got our pipe cleaners down the back. And then what I generally do, I want to find my top here. So here's my top. And then what I did was I kind of pull those through here. So I kind of off-centered this a little bit so that you can kind of, so I know that, I'm just going to make sure. So here's my top right here. This is where my hanger is. So what I want to do, I'm just kind of turning this a little bit. So I'm kind of going by these two here. Let me see how I want to put that. So I'm kind of putting where I'm lining up this one and this one with my Star Trek petals, okay? And then it kind of offsets the wire part so that you can see that. So that's kind of in between the other petals. So once you kind of have it where you want it, I just kind of hold that in place. And I'm going to pull my pipe cleaners tighter and flip it over, okay? I'm just going to make sure this is pulled tight. And then you're just going to tie off your pipe cleaners there. And what I do is I just kind of clip these down a little bit so that we can tuck them back in one of the holes here. And it just kind of makes the back of your board look nice and neat. And if you want, some people kind of put a little dab of glue over the hole, whatever you want. And then what I do is I do my zip tie, which is going to be my hanger. Just like that. Okay, and that's what the back is going to look like. And then when you flip it over to the front, you have your completed flower. And again, it's the Double Dean Michael, the Chris version. If you do not want to wood burn it, go over to Unique in the Creek, her YouTube channel. She does a tutorial on it with a specific fold that she does, so you don't have to wood burn. But other than that, supplies Unique in the Creek. The center part here was from Hobby Lobby. You need a wood burner, tempered glass mat, a metal ruler. You need your pipe cleaners and zip ties. You're going to need 16 10 by 20 pieces of mesh, 8 poly burlap, any color you want, 8 horizontal wide stripe, any color you want. Then you're going to have 8 10 by 10. That's for the Star Trek petal. And you're going to have 4 of each type. So 4 poly burlap and 4 horizontal wide stripe. And then for your leaves, you need 16 leaves. You're going to have 2 leaves in each regular hole that you're doing. So you're going to have 8 sets of leaves that are going around. And again, I apologize that I'm not able to do the live tomorrow. I hope you guys have found this tutorial educational for you, and hope it taught you a little something, a new petal maybe you haven't tried before. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. And I probably won't be around at all tomorrow during the day, but I'll definitely be able to get to your questions or comments tomorrow night. Thanks again for joining me, and can't wait to see you guys on my next live. Take care.